In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where still we're expecting very warm and very humid conditions in the eastern half, almost the eastern 2/3 of the nation. Also with that is going to come an elevated time frame for thunderstorms and even severe weather. So we're going to be tracking some of those events throughout today's video as well. The west is going to remain a little cooler and a little drier in some spots, especially the southwest. The northwest might still see some precipitation at times. So let's go ahead and dive into things and take a look here at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the National Weather Service. And again, this kind of reflects exactly what I just said. We see near normal to below normal temperatures out west. This we call a negative PNA, and this forces a lot of the warmth to basically compensate for that colder air mass that's moving south, and it ricochets this warmth up into the east. The warmth, the humidity, because all that air is tracking directly northward from the Gulf, so it's carrying with it the Gulf conditions straight up into the eastern states. It's a pretty classic setup. When we look at the precipitation, we can see that some of the eastern states, especially the immediate eastern states during this 27th through May 1st timeframe, may be a bit drier. A bit. I do expect that there will be threats of thunderstorms, there will be threats of precipitation, but that does not seem to be the wettest area by any means. The wettest area is going to be the middle of the nation, here throughout the plains, even the Rockies, then parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes there as well. That seems to be where a lot of our activity is going to be at. So let's take a look at the next time frame, which is going to be the 8 to 14 day outlook. And here it is, and as you can see, we still expect very, very warm conditions in the eastern states, but the west does warm up quite a bit as well, especially areas in the northwest here. We can see some warmer conditions, and it's more near normal the further south you go. We can see the Aleutian Islands are quite cold here, also parts of Alaska, and we can assume quite a bit of western Canada is a bit cooler as well, and that's enough of a negative PNA to force this warmth into the central and eastern United States. Still, looking at the precipitation pattern, it's very, very similar, mostly dry along the west, but we do see a little pocket of above normal precipitation here in the Pacific Northwest, mostly just Washington State, actually. And still, the central states is the highlight here of the above average precipitation, but we see that things are getting a little wetter as you move closer to the eastern states here, where we've upgraded from below normal to near normal precipitation during this April 29th through May 5th time frame. Now let's go ahead and take a look here at the past 20 days and how that has gone. We've seen warmer conditions for both the west and the southeast here. So we've actually had more of a positive PNA throughout most of April so far, interestingly enough. And with that, we have seen colder air moving into the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Northeast here. But we've had another feature at play as well, and that is this southeast ridge where we've had this Gulf moisture and warmth moving into these southeastern states. And we see this all the time. We just very luckily didn't see it during the fall and winter this year. That is why we had a quite cold and snowy winter in these southeast parts. But oftentimes, it doesn't matter the time of year, we can see a setup like this happen. And if this does continue through the summertime, look out for a very, very hot, humid, and stormy summer for these southeast areas. Just a fair warning. We're going to move on here and take a look at your European model guidance. All right, let's dive into things. And as you can see, this is going to be for this afternoon. And we do already see some of those humid and warm thunderstorms popping up for the deep south here, parts of the southeast as well. There is a risk of severe weather. It's not the most elevated risk in the world. We will look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks later on. So keep in mind, look out for that at the end of the video, like I mentioned. The jet stream is rather flat here, which is interesting. So we've seen warmer conditions throughout the southwest, south central, and southeastern states. I think it got up to like 85 here in southeastern Virginia today. So it's been absolutely stunning. Very, very warm compared to normal. And that is overall what we expect a lot of upcoming. Not every day. There will be cooler days in there, but this is what we expect to see here and there. Wednesday, I mean, really can't escape it. I mean, there's pockets of scattered thunderstorms all over the place. And again, remember, we have this kind of flow from the Gulf straight northward into these regions of the United States. So if you've been here in the Gulf, it's very hot, very humid, very tropical. And you can imagine if that air is moving northward, we could see conditions a little bit more similar to if we were along the Gulf Coast or in the Gulf itself. Very, very interesting. Looking at Thursday, the 24th, I mean, same thing, this explosion of humid, isolated, and scattered thunderstorms. And the reason I say humid thunderstorms like this, sometimes I refer to it as like summertime pop-up thunderstorms as well, is because we don't have really apparent low. This isn't a cold front that's sweeping through that's bringing severe weather. This is just the conditions being perfect for thunderstorm development. This is the type of systems where you'll have a hot and sunny day, looks beautiful, and then all of a sudden one cloud turns into this really, really heavy thunderstorm. That is these conditions. They just pop up all over the place. Looking at Friday, we really haven't missed a beat here. We continue to see these thunderstorm chances throughout a lot of the South Central, Deep South, Southeast, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, maybe even expanding to the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast here. So just continued activity looking about the same. This one we do actually have a low by Saturday, a very weak low there near the Adirondack Mountains of New York. We do have a little bit of a cold front as well, a warm front out ahead of things. So we get this racing warm air up the eastern coastline actually here for Saturday. Could be a beautiful, beautiful day before the thunderstorms and showers hit if you're along the East Coast. If not, Friday we'll probably have similar conditions, just a little less rainy. But we can see when we look at the jet stream, there is a pretty major trough in the west, but we also see this drop off in the east, and that is coming as a result of that weaker cold front. And by weaker, I don't mean weaker impacts, although this one doesn't look the most intense I've ever seen, but I mean it's not bringing with it Arctic air in this instance at all. Looking at Sunday, on the 27th, we do dry up, and we actually are quite a bit cooler in the east. This could be a good 10-degree drop-off from those highs that we've been seeing some of these days. So if you've been in the 80s, think more 70s. If you've been in the 70s, think more 60s, 60s, 50s, and, it goes on. So you can do the math, but just a little bit of a different climate feel by Sunday. But by the time we reach Monday, we can already see a stronger low here over the Dakotas. This is kind of flowing some warmer air up into parts of the central states especially, but also starting to work its way into the east. We do have pockets of showers and thunderstorms still, so it is still quite warm and it is still pretty humid. So that is still the conditions that we are seeing. Some snowfall for the Rockies, not too surprising this time of year. Now, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this low, so let's go ahead and move on towards Tuesday on the 29th of April. Now, as we just continue this on here, we do see this low continues on. It's over Minnesota now, and it wants to develop a cold front in this area. It clearly has a warm front here where Tuesday the 29th looks much warmer than Monday did, and even Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, that's the 27th, 28th. The 29th brings back the warmth here on Tuesday. And we can see isolated thunderstorms in some spots out ahead of this system, but most of your activity is going to be associated with this low pressure system up there. Looking towards Wednesday here, we see it moves up into eastern Canada, 994 there, dragging cold front. And again, this could bring about not only thunderstorms, but also severe weather with it if it occurs this way. By Thursday, May 1st, we get these isolated and scattered thunderstorms more. As you can see, the low moves away, and we're kind of just left with remnants that have been cut off from that cold front, and we end up seeing these pockets of thunderstorms mostly in the Midwest, but also in some other areas there for Thursday the 1st. This is right around the 10-day mark, so I want to take this moment to remind you guys to take everything from this point on this map with a grain of salt, as we are now moving into the extended range. So things do get a little trickier. I like to show it, I always do, because I want people to have an idea of what could occur. It's not always about what's going to happen. Sometimes it's really, really good to be informed about the options of what could happen. So that way you could have an idea. I like doing things that way, and I feel like that brings a whole lot of value. Let's go ahead and move towards Friday on the 2nd of May here. And this particular model does bring another pocket of thunderstorms here to the South Central, Deep South, all the way up the East Coast, basically. We continue to see similar activity. Whenever you see the model just continue what's been happening, that's usually a stronger indicator than if it shows some sort of big flip or big change or big storm. That's when you want to take it with a grain of salt. But if it's showing basically the same pattern we've already been locked into, that's a fair guess even without looking at a model. So when you have the model showing that, that's a pretty decent indicator. I just wanted to put that out there as well. By the time we reach Saturday the 3rd, it is slowing down. We are very, very warm by this time frame. The jet stream is troughing a little bit over the west, but not even that bad, and we see it kind of just climbing up the east. So a lot of these areas could be seeing their highest highs this Saturday on not this Saturday as in this week for the time I'm recording, but this particular Saturday, May 3rd. This could be one of the warmest days of the year for a lot of people in there. As we just continue on towards Sunday the 4th, we get more of those thunderstorms popping up, as you can see. I mean, just the entire humid and warm layer just pops off by the afternoon, and there is isolated thunderstorms happening in probably half the states in the United States here. So just tons and tons of states dealing with this. As we move on towards Monday the 5th, we do see a very strong low beginning to form here for Wisconsin, Minnesota, even the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Again, big changes and big things is usually going to be your things to take with a serious grain of salt. We do see a decent cold front there, and by decent, I mean actually very significant. I don't know why I said decent. That's not a good way to put it. Very significant cold front there. It does bring about cooler temperatures, but I think the most significant part about it is the structure here. This would almost certainly, if this occurred this way, which again, there's a slight chance, but it probably will look a bit different. This would spell severe weather for these areas if it occurred this way. Now by Tuesday the 6th, the final frame on our model run, we're kind of left with a wavy jet stream, but overall not really cold, seriously cold in any areas around the United States, unless you're very, very far to the north, like Washington State or up here in Minnesota, kind of the upper Midwest, the upper Midwest. And we do continue to see some isolated and scattered thunderstorms here throughout the lower areas of the Midwest. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the precipitation, and we're going to dive into the Storm Prediction Center outlooks as well. Now here's the total precipitation. And again, the Northwest on this European model does a lot better than what the Storm Prediction Center, or not the Storm Prediction Center, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for. A lot of these areas aren't going to be too bad compared to normal. So definitely could see some activity up there in the Northwest. The Southwest looking a bit drier. Now, as we take the plains and everywhere eastward, most areas in here are above average, or at least very close to average. There is some below average areas, mostly like Florida, southern Alabama, southern Georgia. The thing with those southeast ridges that we were talking about earlier is a lot of times they bring high pressure, and it becomes a drier, warmer pattern as opposed to a wetter, warmer pattern. So that is probably the explanation there for that dryness over Florida and some of the surrounding states. Looking at the anomalies, again, below average for most of the West, unless you're in the Northwest here. There is some near normal to above normal areas in there. And then the plains especially, but really the plains eastward, we do see a lot of areas dealing with above average, or at least, like I said, near normal precipitation occurring. So just a really decent look here as far as precipitation. Nobody's looking too concerning for low precipitation, at least on this upcoming time frame from today through May 7th. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, here's the day one outlook, Tuesday on April 22nd. Today we do have, again, a rather large general thunderstorm risk and another little one there over western Montana. These areas is where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The two darker green areas is going to be your level 1 marginal risk, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then the yellow area there for Texas, Oklahoma, a little bit of New Mexico, and then even up into Kansas is going to be your level 2 slight risk, where we expect scattered about severe weather to occur in there for, again, today. Looking towards day 2 on Wednesday the 23rd, we see again a general thunderstorm risk, another very large one for similar areas too. Two marginal risk areas that are rather similar, and then a slight risk that is similar but not as expansive for tomorrow. So continued stormy conditions there is the expectation. And then for day 3 here, We do see this is for Thursday the 24th, a large general thunderstorm risk again, and then a marginal risk for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. So continued, at least smaller chances of severe weather day over day over day. Now we do have a day 7 outlook. I just mentioned yesterday that I expected some longer range extended Storm Prediction Center outlooks to be issued, and sure enough, 24 hours later, here we go. Looking at Monday the 28th, so this is 6 days out, 7 days out, and we see that this is going to be for Oklahoma, very far northern Oklahoma, into Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, and Minnesota, where this translates roughly to a slight risk, but that is a rather large area, and don't be surprised if this ends up being a little bit more than even that, anywhere from enhanced up, unfortunately. So this could be a bigger day. Monday the 28th, we'll be watching it very, very closely. With all that being said, be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.